Hey everyone, and welcome to the Rachel's video making extravaganza. Um, this video is going to help you with advertising and getting the word out about your services and events on your property. And I know that many of you have told me and shared with me that it's a big struggle to get people to come to events and to services. And there are a lot of ways that we can make it better and improve on how we communicate with the residents to hopefully get them there. But at the same time, you need to remember that a lot of these people are busy, and that even if they really love to come to your services, that sometimes their schedules just don't allow it. So before we get into the advertising, just a few things to keep in mind is one, that if this is during the day and you're on a family property when most of the adults are working, it's very difficult to get a good turnout on services if 90% of the adults on your property aren't there when you're doing services. Okay, and it's a good idea to really, do some trial and error and see what times and what days work best on your property. There's also the option of asking whether you do a paper survey or a just an informal survey when you're talking to residents. Say, if we were to have a party and a little talk on health and nutrition, when could you come to that? Is it at 4 o'clock in the afternoon? Is it 9 o'clock in the morning? Is it on a Saturday? You really have to communicate with your residents to see when things will be done best. If we're trying to start a weekly exercise class, is it gonna be great to do that at 1 o'clock in the afternoon in the summer if you're gonna go walking? Probably not. Most people are not going to want to go walk and exercise outdoors at 1 o'clock in the summer unless it's swimming in a pool, which we don't have the capability to have pools and swimming team on our properties. So really keep that in mind when you're planning services and when you're struggling to get people to come to them, that if they're happening when people aren't even on property, that's going to hurt your services. And also, if you have a family property with lots of kids, you market to those kids and you try to get those services done when the kids are getting off the bus or when those kids are getting home from school. Because some of them are going home to empty houses. Well, some of them, their parents just also got off work and they're trying to either get dinner on the table or they're trying to unwind. You have kids on your property and you hit services right when those kids are getting home from school, you're going to have a lot more success getting people to come. And it's okay if 90% of your services are geared towards the kids and the kids are the ones coming, because that's where your population is and it's where you're having the success. And then as you build your service program, then you can work on ways on getting the adults in as well. Because we don't want to exclude anybody, but we definitely want to market our services to the group that's going to come and going to benefit from it and going to help us keep the services going. And also, there's just some resources and ideas that can help. I'm going to share on Redbook Online, under resident services, there is a folder on flyers. And currently we have 32 flyers uploaded on Redbook that you can download and edit. For example, here's the social services, social activities flyer. You can download it, and then once you open it, these areas are editable. So you can type in time and date, and even like have some bullet points. Okay, so these are a great tool to use, and that they're at your fingertips. So you don't have to recreate flyers all the time, that you have access to these flyers that I've already made. I've also had a lot of managers contact me and say, "Hey, we're having a hamburger cookout for Memorial Day. Can you make me a flyer?" And usually within the same day, I can get a couple flyers to them. Don't ever hesitate to ask me to help you make flyers. And I also have access to the color printer so I can make them in color for you. So the first step in advertising to get people to come to your activities is to make sure you have the flyers up. I know that not everyone has colored printers, but even if you could print it on colored paper, you can ask me. If you give me enough time, I can get them printed out and sent to you on Fridays where you can have them the following week. But it's not an excuse to say that you don't have flyers, because here's 32 already made for you, and anytime you ever need or want enough to do is ask me. And I can usually get them back within the day with some options for you. Another way to advertise is through the calendars. Some of you take advantage of our monthly newsletter and calendars, and I make those calendars for you and print them out and send them your way. That's a great way for them to have a whole month at a glance where they can see what activities are going on your property. But just the calendar is not enough. You have to keep advertising. Okay, we live in a world that has so much information at our fingertips that, just one calendar that you give me on June 1st, by June 5th, if I still even have the calendar, I might have forgotten. Okay? There are some people who are super organized and they get that calendar and they put it on their refrigerator, or they put it in their planner, or they put it on their phone where they know what is going on. But unfortunately, we live in a world that if you're given a piece of paper, there's a very good chance that it ends up on the floor or on the trash, or it just gets lost and they have the intention of keeping it and it doesn't happen. So what works for one person isn't going to work for everyone. And so that's why we have to be very creative in our advertising. So, we want to have flyers up and we want to have them in multiple places. We want to give them a calendar of events. So hopefully those that can keep track of it will have it. Also have extra copies in your office and have an extra copy posted on the bulletin board. So if the people that really needed it and wanted it might have accidentally lost it, or someone else in the family threw it away without realizing what it was, that they can have access to another one. Something that goes a really long way is personal invites. And I know that y'all are very busy, but if you're having a service that would really benefit someone on your property, or, if you, for example, if WIC is coming to your property and that all those young moms would really benefit from knowing about WIC and the services that WIC offers, find a way to give those people a personal invitation, whether you write a little quick note and say, "I'd really love for you to be able to come to this." You get something printed up and put it on their door. You ask me to make a cute invitation and you hand deliver it. That little bit of extra attention will go a long way, where you can really say, "I really, really want you to be at this event." Or if you just see them, talk to them in person and invite them. When you're doing 90-day inspections or you're doing something in the apartment, you can even get your maintenance man on board, that when you have a service coming up, when you're with a resident, mention it. Say, "Oh, did you know that we have this? We have arts and crafts tomorrow. Did you remember? Are you going to be able to make it? We'd love to see you there." You have to constantly remind people. Some of you have Facebook pages, and have the reminders up there. A week before, say, "Don't forget, next week we're having arts and crafts." The day before, "Don't forget tomorrow's arts and crafts." An hour before you start, "Don't forget we have arts and crafts." And if you have a Facebook page as opposed to a Facebook group, On that page, you can schedule it ahead of time. So Monday morning, you can schedule out everything you want to post on the Facebook page for the whole week. And then you won't have to, if something happens, you will have that already set to load and advertise on Facebook for you. Um, Another thing that I tried when I was working the school are those LED menu boards. I'm going to show you what I got. I had a parent tell me that they had no idea when I was doing events, and even though I was sending things home, I had the idea, well, what if I get one of these LED writing boards? And they're super cool because most of the ones that you can get, they come with multiple markers already ready for you. This one comes with multiple settings, so you can change the color that it blinks and the way it blinks. And it comes with the adapter, and you have the battery option, the power option, the chain to hang it. And it's really not a bad price. There are different sizes. This is just the first one that I pulled up to show y'all. But when I got this and hung that up at school and turned it on, suddenly people were paying attention. Okay, so don't be afraid to do something flashy. Or when you're having an event in your community room, turn on some music and have it loud enough that before the event happens, you can hear it out on the property. And then maybe they'll say, well, what's going on in the community room? It sounds like people are having fun. We have to be creative, and we have to find ways to be effective. And you have to be flashy. You have to be very, very willing to step outside your comfort zone and very willing to try something new when what you are doing is not working. As I just said, when I worked at school, every week I sent home a piece of paper with upcoming events and information, and I sent the same exact thing on email to all the parents, and I had it posted by the front door. I had it in copy form, where they could just grab one at like the sign out table where they met their kids each day. And I put it on Facebook. On really, really big events, I even did a phone call. And then I had it on my blinking board, and we would still have parents walk in and say, well, I didn't know anything about this. Okay, I know that you have residents that will do the same thing, and it's so frustrating. But just know that if you have the proof that you've done your absolute best to advertise and you've tried everything, don't give up and say, well, I've done my best. I'm not going to try anything new. But if you're working hard and getting the information out the best you can also rest assured that I'm doing the very best I can, and I'm just going to have to find a way to reach this person that works for them. And it can be like a challenge to you, but we can't just do one thing, especially in today's day and age where we're used to getting everything within seconds, and it has to be really eye-catching and appealing for us to remember it. So, keep those things in mind, like when you're watching TV or you're on social media, and, what's catching your attention and what's catching your eye. And think of those things when you are advertising for your events. So it's not impossible, but at the same time is very difficult. So do not give up. Keep working hard and keep working towards getting a bigger base. And then at the same time, any resident that comes to your services, be happy and be excited that they're there. Right? If you have a service on Medicare and you wanted 82 people to show up and only 30 did, those 30 people really benefited from that service and they needed that service. Okay, so look at that as a positive, and then also a challenge. Okay, get 40 to come. Maybe next time I can get a little more to come. And just keep working hard. I know y'all do a great job at what you do, and that every day is a new adventure and unpredictable. So while I'm sitting in my office giving you all these hints, I also know that real life happens and it is hard. But I'm here to help you, and I'm here to give ideas and do what I can to make your job easier. So on advertising, and if you need any help, let me know. Have a great day.